You're on, Keith.
Okay. We're back live, back from executive session, no action taken. So next item of business is Mr. Livingston with GIS zoning, about a conditional use permit.
Commissioners, back in May of 2024, I was approached by Kelly Nimzik and her husband, Tony McDonald. They had an opportunity to purchase the old Penny's concrete plant on K57. They went ahead and purchased that, and their intent was, and their hope was, that they could secure a permit to build an RV park and use that 75 acres out there for some additional outdoor rec opportunities for locals and hopefully people that can come in and stay. So through several conversations and several meetings in my office and hashing things out here and there, kind of stepped them through that conditional use permit process. So back in September, we had, on September the 9th, the Planning Commission held their public hearing for this conditional use and heard everything from all parties. There was not really any major concerns on the part of the commission, except for the fact that it is in a floodplain, all 75 acres is, and they were concerned about how things could play out that way. And with our floodplain regulations and with how FEMA works things, as long as the motor homes and RVs and everything that are on wheels mobile, as long as they're roadworthy and mobile, can be moved in the event of a flood event, that's fine. They don't care. Roadways, no issue. The bathhouse in the office, as long as it's elevated a foot above the base flood elevation, then they're copacetic with that as well. So that's not going to create any kind of a problem. My problem was going to be water and sewer, how they're going to handle the waste. And, typically you would put in a lagoon for something that size, but in the floodplain, KDHE says absolutely no lagoons. Graciously, the city manager has agreed to allow them to tap into the city's water supply and the city's sewer. Both of them stop right at the gate entrance to their property. So that was really benevolent on his part. It's going to save them a lot of problems should you guys approve this. And in fact, swayed the planning commission. Had that not happened, I don't think that they would have even agreed to hear the case hardly. So the major concern then came from Mr. Moyer was fire safety. Obviously, if anybody knows anything about fire and fire suppression, when one of those RVs goes up, they're all in such close proximity to one another that could create quite a bit of a problem. So he was just concerned and wanted to make sure that although there is adequate water supply there, and there are a couple of fire hydrants right there behind the locker plant as you turn to go into their property, he wanted to make sure that there was at least one fire hydrant, if not two, in the park itself. So really, that was about the extent of their concerns. Their plan is to open the RV park and start out with about 35 or 40 slots originally, get that set up and get it going. They were wanting to offer canoe and kayak trips down the Republican into the Kansas, pick you up at, if you just a short trip, pick you up at the end of Grand Avenue where that public slot's at, or the Ogden drop-off point is another public one on the Kansas River. They could take that one, or they've even offered to go clear to Manhattan, which would be a pretty sizable trip. But that has kind of fed in with the current push to revitalize Grand Avenue and bring some outdoor recreation opportunities to Geary County and the citizens of Junction City as well. I know that Ms. Nimzik has talked to Terry Butler about this on more than one occasion, and that has kind of fed right along in with everything that they're trying to get accomplished. So the Planning Commission, it was a pretty short meeting, actually. They really didn't have any concerns. They thought it was a good idea. All commissioners thought it was an excellent idea and recommended that you guys approve that. So I would be more than happy to try to answer any questions. And I know that Kelly and Tony are both here. If you've got questions of them, they would be more than happy to answer those as well.
I see that at one point in part of this conversation that emergency management, which I'm glad, Gary, that you're here, that you've been in part of the conversation with them about, this concern with the single interest entrance.
And we talked a little bit about the single entrance. It'd be nice if there was two entrances in and out. As long as they've got that single entrance wide enough that we can still, if something happens, get in and out. My main concern was the fire hydrants out there because, we don't have hydrants enough water on our trucks. If we go out there, our first truck's gonna have less than 1,000 gallons of water. If we got these RVs and one catches fire, and depending on the wind, it could catch a second one. So I want to make sure we got enough water protection out there. And that was the reason why John came in and he and I talked to. We'd like to see we need at least 1,000 feet is our distance that we can hook up to hydrant on. That's how much hose we carry on a truck. So as long as we've got every place in there within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant, we'll be okay with that.
I know that we had talked about, Commissioner Moyer in particular had noted, since there is just that single entrance, the need for an emergency evacuation plan should something happen, flash flood, whatever, or a fire or whatever. So that's something that we can work with Geary on too, I think, to get that established and get that filed, so.
Can I say something?
Sure.
We do plan on doubling that, for an entrance and an exit, and that's in the plan.
The width?
That's what I was gonna ask if that was, says to, Gary was supposed to be in the conversation to assist in developing more so that plan, so that answered the rest of my question.
Do you have plans to expand after your first phase? And
Yeah, that'll be phase one, and then we'll go into phase two. We just don't know how long that's gonna take.
right,
I think it's a neat idea, what you're doing out there, that's for sure.
And I've had this discussion with Kelly, I know, and because the commissioners brought it up about transient guest tax. And RV parks are not subject to that unless they own the RVs and offer them for rent. And at that point, it becomes basically a mobile motel, right? And that would be subject, but people that bring their own RVs in, no.
I don't see a problem with it. Sounds like everything's covered.
Well, and this is a far cry from the last time we tried this. It's not in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Right.
There are really no neighbors. Fort Riley is the entire length of the Republican River on the north side. So it's really just almost an ideal spot.
Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a great idea, a good opportunity to do something and, like I said, have something to do out there in that area. So I think it's a wonderful idea. So with that being said, I would move to approve the conditional use permit for that.
Is there a number on this?
There's a conditional use permit number,
Under subject, you want me to give that number?
conditional use number 090125.
That's what I thought. Okay. I'll second that motion.
Okay.
So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Good luck.
Put a resolution on it, send that for you. I know, right? That's the deal. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Now Courtney can take your lunch.
Somehow I'm guessing that ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
So then you need to approve this resolution. It's for the same thing, but it's not, it's a resolution.
Okay. I make a motion to approve resolution number 10062025. And that's in regards to this.
Okay, yeah, I'll second that.
The movement saying, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Terry, how deep is the water through that area? Do you know? When they took those kayaks out a couple of months ago, didn't they?
There was kids standing up, but I don't know if it's even across the whole area. It varies. It
But I'd be
varies.
interested in
Yeah, it
trying.
depends on how much water is let out.
We're live checking. While we're still on, we did receive an offer from Patricia Hatley for 3 hours a day in Fairfield Plaza for $1,000. That was on the 19 tax sale. Kind of like the Whites made an offer, same process and procedure. So if you're interested in accepting that offer and setting it for public hearing, I can get that done.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Do we need a
What'd you say
motion?
her last name was?
Hatley, Hatley.
Agenda for the coming day. So,
Do we need a motion for that?
I'd probably motion to set it for a hearing. So if I get it to the paper this week, it'll print Wednesday, next Wednesday, so it'll be the following,
Okay.
which would be
KT, are you gonna move for that?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll so move.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
I thought,
Aye. Motion
So it'd
carried.
be the 20th. The hearing would be the 20th. Right? Or not the 15th.
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as we get it in there by Thursday at 5.
Yes.
Okay,
And what's the address? Something J?
309J.
Okay,
in
J
Granby
A
Plaza.
Y.
okay.
It was offered at the tax sale and the sealed bid sale.
Okay.
Okay, next we have executive session for legal matters related to potential jail contracts, attorney-client privilege.
I so moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
How many minutes? Ken?
10.
Oh, we gotta get her back in here to shut it off.
Just left you.
yeah.
Oh, you're.
I was waiting
for you.
So shut up.
I do like getting my stuff.
Unless, before you shut it off, unless we have any public comment after this, which should have been started by now, I don't think there's any need of coming back live.
No, I just have minutes and then something else that needs signed. So,
All right, just so the public is aware.
okay.